Hi, my name is Mackenzie Simpson, and I decided to give my persuasive speech on why rock and metal are the best genres of music. And I chose this because of how they appeal to the emotions. And the reason why I listen to rock and metal are because there are so many subgenres that at least someone can enjoy at least one of them. I also chose it because rock can cover some of the most controversial and emotional topics you can think of. Since music can be listened to and felt by anyone of any language, it can be fun to listen to new music such as rock and find similarities with people you otherwise never would. I would love to explain the difference of rock and metal, and as well as the emotions that the songs belonging to these genres can convey. To begin with some of the more common subgenres, which there are many, of rock are progressive, punk, alternative, indie, funk, and classic. Prog rock uses classical influences and includes bands such as Rush, Genesis, Tool, and Pink Floyd. Punk rock is basically meant for nonconformist or rebellious people and includes bands such as The Clash, Ramones, Green Day, and Misfits. Alternative rock is characterized as unconventional and includes the subgenre of that, which is grunge. It includes bands such as Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Incubus, My Chemical Romance, and many, many more. Indie rock is described as bands who independently produce their own music. And this genre includes bands such as Cage the Elephant, Arctic Monkeys, The Strokes, and Young the Giant. Funk rock is a subgenre that fuses elements of rock and funk, and the most well-known band of this category is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Classic rock is basically rock from the time period between the 1960s and the mid-1990s. This includes bands like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Fleetwood Mac, and once again, many, many more. Now that rock has been covered, I will get into some of the genres of metal. Some of you may be wondering what the difference between rock and metal is. The only real difference, according to the website, the difference between is that where rock has a lighter distortion of the sound, metal has a stronger distortion. That being said, some of the most common genres of metal are metalcore, thrash, progressive, deathcore, and nu metal. Metalcore, which is probably one of my favorites, combines elements of extreme metal and hardcore punk and includes bands such as Asking Alexandria, Killswitch Engage, Bring Me the Horizon, The Devil Wears Prada, and that's just to name a few. Thrash metal is characterized by aggression and a fast tempo and includes bands such as Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. Progressive metal is defined as combining loud aggression with an amplified guitar sound. Some of the bands to popularize this subgenre have been Avenged Sevenfold, Dream Theater, Gojira, and Meshuggah. Deathcore combines death metal and metalcore to create its own unique sound and includes bands such as Whitechapel, who are from Knoxville, Lorna Shore, who won Album of the Year, Slaughter to Prevail, and Suicide Silence. And last but not least is nu metal, which fuses heavy metal with other styles of music, such as hip-hop, and includes bands such as Slipknot, Korn, Disturbed, System of a Down, Linkin Park, and many more. Since the genres have now been covered, I will go over some of the emotions that can allow individuals, such as yourselves, to relate to some of these bands or songs that they have. Emotions that you may hear expressed in rock and metal are love, sadness, anger, happiness, depression, disgust, fear, togetherness, anxiety, and mental illness. And I also included religion. Love can be associated with The End of Heartache by Killswitch Engage. Sadness can be associated with Pain Remains 1, Dancing Like Flames by Lorna Shore, but you can also include Part 2 and Part 3 to Pain Remains. Anger can be associated with I Hate Everything About You by 3 Days Grace. Happiness and Getting Back Up Again can be associated with Rise Above This by Seether. Depression can be associated with Fade to Black by Metallica or Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. Disgust, as in being disgusted with people, can be associated with The Elitist Ones by Whitechapel. Fear can be associated with Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. I left out Togetherness, but anxiety can be associated with Strife by Trivium. Mental illness can be associated with Voices by Disturbed, and religion can be associated with Alive by POD and I'm Alive by Flyleaf. As you can see, there are so many ways that we can relate to rock and metal based on emotions alone. This list only touches the surface of how we can emotionally relate to these genres and does not even include song lyrics that we can relate to. Ultimately, no matter what you go through, there is a rock or metal song that you can listen to either feel better or feel related to. This is why I believe rock and metal are the best genres of music.